So is your antidote to this, don't be offended when I say this, is your antidote in some ways to be as boring as possible?
I think we're now the mainstream force in Australian politics, the
You're the middle
centre.
of the road, but you used to be the lefty, like I mean...
Indeed.
Bit of a first today. I'm off to the Lodge, where the Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, has kindly offered to cook me lunch. In return, I'm making something I know is special to him from his childhood, wagon wheels. He grew up in the middle of Sydney, in a council estate just next to the Weston's biscuit factory. So I'm hoping my version, 2 nutmeg-scented biscuits, sandwiched with melted marshmallow and raspberry jam, then covered in dark chocolate, will take him right back there. After 30 eventful years in politics, Anthony Albanese now lives at the Lodge, with a kitchen I've always wanted to visit.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
Annabel, great to see you. Welcome to the Lodge.
I am so excited. Thank you for having me, and you've dressed up the dog.
Well, of course.
Beautiful. The Lodge kitchen.
Here we are. Bit bigger than the kitchen in Marrickville, I must say.
Right, but I mean, do the staff get nervous that you're on the loose in here, unsupervised?
No, not at all.
Have you tied them up?
Usually on weekends,
Right.
we're here by ourselves, which is
Okay.
fantastic, I've got to say.
So what are you cooking here today? What can I expect? It
cooking
looks good.
orecchietta with broccolini, anchovies, garlic and chilli. Of course, everything's better with garlic and chilli.
Do you remember a few years ago you got totally dragged on social media because you posted a picture of your dinner and
I did, that was during COVID.
right. It was a piece of steak and some corn and some...
It was because the food was all separated, which
Right.
says something about my character. So there was a bit of
Right.
steak,
Yeah.
peas and corn, none of them touching. So pasta dishes are different.
Okay, but like, why do you like your food separate? Like, is that a thing that...
It's because you do. You do.
Okay.
It's just...
Because it makes you anxious when it's all mixed in?
No, but it's just organised. I like to taste each individual thing.
Okay. I loved, because the comments on that post were total Aussie gold, so hilarious. And there's one guy who's like, one of those peas is getting close to the steak elbow, reel it back.
What was really funny was that I didn't see that there was anything about that plate. It was
It was
just...
unusual. I've got more to ask you about this.
Well,
but
first, water,
okay,
boiling.
am I allowed to help here?
No, not at all. Here we go.
I'm not going to be allowed to touch a single thing here, am I?
No, relax, you're a guest. Just chill. So now we can chat while that's happening.
I know, you've planned this out perfectly.
Planning.
Someone close to you who I won't name, so let's just call her your wife, did say that it's quite hard to cook with you because you're constantly tidying and kind of clearing things away, and also you just like to do it yourself.
Absolutely.
Right, okay.
Cooking is something that I'm either doing or not doing, not halfway. If someone
Sensing
wants
some
to cook-
control issues here.
No, it's just growing up, no siblings,
Yeah.
just me or
okay.
mum doing something or me doing something. It's just what I'm comfortable with.
Everyone in Australia knows that you grew up in public housing with a single mum, but I don't know that everybody would know how often you were left like alone because she was in hospital from quite an early age.
Yeah, she was crippled up with rheumatoid arthritis,
Yep.
so would have long stints in hospital. There were some years where she was, I think, probably in hospital for longer than she was out. When they changed her medication,
Yeah.
it was quite physically difficult for her.
What are you doing at home in that time? I mean,
I'm
running the household.
running the household. I'm cooking, I'm doing her washing, I'm paying bills. I was a signatory to her bank account. So it just meant that I had to be really well organised.
Did you ever feel at all kind of annoyed that fate had dealt you this hand where you had to be responsible for a whole lot more stuff than other kids your age had to be?
No, not really, because it was just what was in front of you and you don't think about it. Later on, I remember thinking I'd never been to Luna Park.
Yeah.
So you missed out on some things because you didn't have a father. We didn't have a car. You needed a car to play cricket because the games were in different spots. So I played rugby league because it was at the same ground all the time. You could catch the bus there and it was easier to do.
So you just adapt.
You adapt.
I'm fascinated by the fact that your mum, over the course of most of your childhood, told you that your dad was dead and had been killed in a car accident before your birth. I'm just going to do a quick recap. They met on a boat. She got pregnant.
Yep.
He was engaged to somebody else in Italy. She came home, gonna have you, put you up for adoption.
The nun at the hospital brought me into her because she knew that my mum didn't want to give up her child.
And your mum was from a Catholic family, so...
Catholic family, and everyone knew each other. So the story was going to be that my father had died in the car accident and she'd lost the child with the trauma. Neat. I get adopted out and none of that happened. She brought me home, but the first half of the story stuck. So she adopted my father's name, Albanese. Yeah, I was about 14 when I was old enough. She told me. I'll never forget it. It was sitting around, our whole kitchen was as big as this little space here. And she was really quite emotional. And she told me that my father was potentially alive. She wasn't sure. She wasn't in contact with him. My reaction was that I didn't need anything else. I had her. It was really traumatic for her, and it's terrible that she was embarrassed. I mean, she did a fantastic job of raising a child by herself.
Do you know what's so interesting? Is even like you telling this story, you haven't told it from your perspective, you've told it from her perspective.
Because it was about her.
Yeah.
Love in a family is what matters. And families are complex, relationships are complex.
Yep.
What matters is love, and I had that in abundance.
Yeah, you were a pretty tight unit, weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever get in trouble with her?
Oh, yeah. I was, funnily enough, I was naughty occasionally.
Oh, right, yeah.
That'll come as a shock to you.
You guys used to knock off boxes of biscuits from the Weston's factory, I know, you and your scaly mates.
Oh, we did lots of stuff like that, but she often didn't find out.
Strategy, remaining two jumps ahead.
I still to this day can't really eat Wagon Wheels because...
Really?
Because the kids would have the boxes of them, often given by the Weston's workers, by the way, so it was all good.
It's a good biscuit, though.
Is it? After all that time, if you've eaten 10 of them in a sit-down as an 8-year-old, kind of puts you off a little bit.
Yeah, fair enough. No, fair enough. Not that I'm telling you what to do.
I'm going to get rid of this.
I'll sit here doing nothing.
Little critters. But of course, consistent with my characteristics, I have to get every little bit out.
I see your neurodiversity. You'll need to do everything. All right.
Now, time.
So, do you ever, I know you're super orderly. I'm today getting a glimpse of just how deep that goes. Do you ever catch yourself where, organising something or tidying something to a point where even you just think, whoa, just reel it back a bit there?
Yes, sometimes
Really?
I do.
What?
Jodie pointed out to me very early on in our relationship when in Marrickville had vine leaves over a trellis when the leaves drop. And the fourth time in a day I would sweep up the leaves, and she pointed out that this was a little bit crazy. And I was like, yeah. So I cut it back to 3 times a day.
Is order a way of eliminating the chances of being taken by surprise by something?
Life's busy.
Yeah.
and never do something tomorrow you can do today. Never do something this afternoon if you can do it in the morning.
But now you're in a job where you think you've got everything organised.
And you do. Get taken by surprise.
Right, and you wake up and Donald Trump's been busy on the whatever, and you're
There's a war.
My day has just changed. How do you deal with that when you like plans and predictability?
Well, you just have to deal with it as it is. And that's why doing things today rather than tomorrow or next week leaves you the space to then deal with emergencies, because that happens in this job.
You used to have about 5 jobs at once.
Stacking shelves Thursday night, Saturday night shift from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Oh.
There was a board at Sydney Uni you could go for various odd jobs.
Oh, we had that one too. Yeah.
So it was, need to do this.
Hold.
There it goes.
Wish we had smell-o-vision. That smells incredible.
Fantastic.
So, but you, I mean, by that time...
Time for the pasta.
Okay. Not arguing.
Minute more.
So by this stage, you were, I mean, you joined the ALP when you were about 11. You were involved in the Labor Party. You got to uni and you were politically active. You know, you were in the socialist left, you were climbing clock towers, you were doing sit-ins and protests. And I remember reading this amazing story about how you were doing a student protest sit-in, and it was you and like 3 trots and 5 anarchists and somebody's baby, and you were protesting, you know, something at the university. Like, what did you learn in that room about protest and how to do it and how to make change?
Learned that you've got to negotiate, and at the time, what had happened, there was an occupation going on at Sydney University. There were people there who the protest became the end in itself.
Right.
So they didn't want to leave.
Right.
It was at the time of the Wilderness Society had done the whole Franklin Dam thing and all that.
Right.
So it had to be consensus decision making, which meant that nothing happened because it was an endless 24-hour meeting. So what we did eventually was I got a whole lot of people to go in there at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Your Labor mates.
And just say, and stack it basically, and say, we're going. And we went. And otherwise they would have still been there.
Yum.
Yeah.
You feeling okay about those ingredients touching, mate? Yeah.
Absolutely. No, some things are meant to touch.
Okay.
Stir fries, pastas.
So stir fries can touch, pastas can touch.
Steak isn't meant to touch vegetables.
Okay.
Peas not meant to touch corn.
How do you feel about surf and turf?
No, never. Never. It's just wrong. It's like fruit in beer. Part of our third team agenda. Gone. And don't get me started on rosé. Pick a team, white or red.
Wow.
Just saying.
What about a gin and tonic? Like,
that's okay.
That's
fine.
I feel like I'm learning a lot about you and your psyche. That, it looks delicious.
Aha. It's just about ready. I'm going to do one thing.
Oh, yeah.
It needs lots of cheese.
Nice thumb detail. Did you work in silver service at some point?
I've worked in restaurants.
Thank you, that is perfect. This looks so good. I'm impressed with your technique and your efficiency.
I like the chewiness of this pasta.
It is really good. Exactly the right amount of chilli too. So I'm not quite finished with your trajectory through the ALP. You arrived in the Federal Parliament in 1996 on what was a great day for you because you're the new member for Grayndler, and it was, for the Labor Party, a pretty terrible day because
it was a shocker.
A wipeout and the beginning of the Howard government. So, was that a pretty depressing caucus for you to walk into, what was left of it?
I was excited to be elected, and Paul Keating gave his last speech in the caucus room, and you felt that sense of history. But it also was a very significant defeat. We didn't
wasn't it?
just get beaten. We had, I think we won 48 or 49 seats in that election. It was time to be part of rebuilding, and what the Labor Party... Labor Party's always got to constantly evolve, like any institution.
Yeah.
You can't just stand still.
Oh.
The world will go past you. So I felt that sense of an opportunity as well to be a part of that.
Not to be rude, but like there was a lot of losing to come before you started doing any
That is
winning,
true.
right? It's like, so you've walked in there in 96, like, great, we're going to rebuild. It's going to be incredible. You were in opposition for 11 long years. You had wrenching arguments in the caucus in that time, changes of leadership. How does losing a lot make you better at your job, does it?
It certainly does. I'm someone who analyses things. How did it go? How could it have been done better? And that was why I think the events of 2010 shook me as well. A lot of the people who were behind the change of leader that occurred then were people who were elected in 2007.
Right, yeah. So you're talking about the Gillard replacement of Kevin Rudd, yeah.
Kevin Rudd. So they didn't, in my view, value enough the difference between being in government and being in opposition. Being in government every day is better than any day in opposition.
And you know, because you've...
I know, because unfortunately I've experienced too long in opposition.
It's so weird to think, isn't it, that this century there's only 2 prime ministers that have, like, won an election, served a full term and then been re-elected. That's you and John Howard.
It's extraordinary.
Do you ever look in the mirror and think, here I am, second term, I'm back in government, I'm taking a massive tax change to the parliament that I said I wasn't going to. I've got Pauline Hanson sort of, coming off a long run. I've got, a scare campaign on tax from the opposition. I've been in this place for 30 years. Oh my God, am I John Howard? Circa 1998?
No, what you do is...
Are you though? Come on, there are a lot of similarities there.
But John Howard, you've got to analyse everyone, including your opponents.
Yeah.
John Howard understood his party.
Yeah.
He had control of the caucus. Howard, as well, I think, understood that the 24-hour media cycle isn't what you have to be focused on. Credit where credit's due. It's a substantial achievement to govern for 11 years.
Think he stayed too long?
I think he probably did. I think if Costello had have taken over in the lead up to 2007, it would have been tougher for us.
He didn't want to let go, did he? Because he wanted to do it all himself.
He didn't.
You seem to like doing things
I
yourself.
I do.
Also, remember he said on radio, I'm going to reconsider my future when I'm 64. That was a terrible error, because we just asked him every day.
That's right.
You're turning 64 next year, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. and I have not made that error.
At the end of your first term, you said that the most courageous thing that you'd done was to redraw the stage 3 tax cuts. Is like going back on your word on the tax stuff going to be the bravest thing that you've done this term? And I want to know what is the courage element?
The courage element is change. The easy thing to do is to sit back, not do change, because any change that's put forward is going to get people who are opposed to it. But you now have a situation where increasingly young people just feel like they haven't got a stake in the system, and that they're never going to have the opportunity to own their own home. And the idea you would sit back, know that that's a problem, and then not do anything about it when you had the opportunity to. I mean, Joe Hockey called for these changes in his valedictory speech, to his credit. And Joe's a friend of mine, I'm not having a crack at Joe, but don't wait for your valedictory, mate. You were the Treasurer.
Okay.
I'm the Prime Minister. I'm in a position to advocate a change that everyone knows is necessary. Everyone knows the housing system is broken and it's built up that way over a period of time.
So why have both the major political groupings let it go, kept giving out, first home buyer grants that kind of, heated up the market?
Yeah,
I mean, this is where, so the One Nation people who say, well, look, these two parties are a uni party. That's sort of what it's based on, isn't it? Knowing that these two parties are like, no, there's a problem, but nobody wants to be the first one to take the political risk of fixing it. Now, you're taking the political risk now. Why now?
Well, I think it's the right thing to do is what it comes down to. And the context as well is so many people out there, and I think this is one of the things that's driving the vote to One Nation. Yeah. They think the system isn't working. It's broken. It's the idea that you say...
Yeah, they think that you two parties are kind of swapping sides, chucking out your leaders, obsessed with yourselves, and you're not actually changing anything.
And they're frustrated by that, and that's legitimate. You've got to respond to that. Governments have to be interested in making people's lives better. And this is certainly not making my life easier.
Yeah.
That's not the objective. The objective is to make lives better for those people who are pretty close to giving up on buying a house.
Given that you've watched so many leaders in this country come and go, is there something that springs to mind, and I would ask you to be non-partisan about this, where you've seen a political leader do something in this country and you've thought, that is a courageous thing to do?
Yeah, John Howard on guns. And Tim Fischer, perhaps even more importantly, people forget him. The leader of the National Party going to rallies in rural New South Wales in his seat where people were, white-hot anger. It was a very courageous thing to do. It was the right thing to do. We're a safer country because of it.
When you've been in politics for a long time and, you've made 1 million speeches, you've gone on 1 million attacks, you've done your own anti-tax reform scare campaign with the GST, you bitterly oppose that, you oppose the Howard government's Pacific solution. And then when you get into government, you've got to run this stuff. I mean, you're not repealing the GST, you're not repealing the border protections. How do you work with having to let go of things, to make a point and then go, do you know what? I didn't win this debate.
You learn. And you can change your position. On border protection, for example, we said that we would keep the mechanisms in place, and indeed we've expanded a range of them because people feel like they have to be in control of their borders. And if you want to run a migration system that's respectful of the contribution that migrants make, it has to be orderly. And that's the lesson that the British Labor government is dealing with at the moment. It's a lesson that the US Democrats should have learnt, but didn't. And it's something that we have.
If I wasn't sitting here and the person sitting here was 2001 Anthony Albanese, who was giving all of these speeches in the Parliament about the Howard government's, Pacific solution and the Tampa and all of that, how would that go, do you reckon? Because would he look at you and go, you are a sellout, buddy?
We would have been having a disagreement.
Yeah.
No question about that.
I would pay to see it, by the way.
But the other thing that we haven't done, though, is we're respectful. We haven't used people during Children Overboard. Was just an attempt to divide people by saying things that were not true. So we have engaged respectfully. We have an orderly migration program, a good refugee program. You won't hear from me a distinction between Australians and migrants, like we heard from Angus Taylor in his budget reply. And, so some of the positions are completely consistent that I would have, which is always to seek to bring people together.
In recent years, we've had people talking about whether they're Muslims, Jewish Australians, in a way that feels really quite extreme.
Wild is...
Okay, so what's driving that, do you think?
I think there's a range of factors. Economic turbulence. We have had the GFC, global financial crisis, then we had COVID, a land war in Europe with Ukraine. Now we've got the Middle East conflict. There's been a whole series of disruption that I think has created a sense of frustration and, yes, anger in some. And then that's fuelled by what's happened with social media, with algorithms pushing people towards polarisation.
Well, they reward conflict, the algorithms.
More and more extreme views going forward.
Well, you have it at leadership level too. I mean, you know, Donald Trump will say things that are pretty extreme.
Well, it's a change in the way that discourse happens that's less respectful of others. And I have said so many times, turn the temperature down.
So is your antidote to this, don't be offended when I say this, is your antidote in some ways to be as boring as possible?
I think we're now the mainstream force in Australian politics, the
You're the middle of the road, but you used to be the lefty, like, I mean... Indeed. What about when people...
The world's moved.
Right.
But we're a progressive government in, if you like, the radical centre, to use one of the terms that is used.
It's one of those brilliant nonsense terms.
But trying to define, you know, we respect institutions as well and traditions. I'm a traditionalist. I follow all of the protocols, all of that. I think is really important.
I could hear young Albo screaming from the clock tower that he chained himself to.
What you can hear is my mum saying that's the way he was brought up, to respect people and to respect those institutions. It's a working class phenomenon to do that.
More than 3 decades in the federal parliament. You've had some miserable days there, you've had some amazing days there. What's the day you would not want to live again?
Oh, gee. That's really hard to... Probably 23rd of June 2010. Because I said on that day, I thought that Kevin and Julia, who are both dear friends of mine, both people I regard as very good Prime Ministers, we destroyed or undermined the Prime Ministership of both of them on that day.
Do you think that set in train something in Australian politics?
Clearly it did. It led to, you know, Rudd replacing Gillard, Turnbull replacing Abbott. It led to Morrison replacing Turnbull, and a revolving door, which is not healthy in democracy to have that churn there as well. If you're worried about people behind you, then it's hard to get government decisions right as well. Because if you're thinking about the internal dynamics as well as everything else, then you won't...
you're distracted.
Yeah, you won't make decisions based upon their merits. What is the right thing to do for the country? And I firmly believe that if you get policies right, then the politics will look after itself. But you've got to keep doing what you think is the right policies in the national interest, not in the interest of a section of your party, or indeed not in the interest of your party. It's got to be country before party is what you need to do.
I've actually brought dessert to the table. Hand me your plate.
Fantastic.
Is it okay if I handle your plate? Thank you. Something that you said earlier made me terrified about the dessert that I've made for you, because it does have a personal relevance to you, but I'm not sure quite what you're going to make of it. Just take the lid off there.
Okay. Wow.
Homemade wagon wheels, mate.
Homemade wagon wheels. Oh no! But these are different.
They're homemade.
They're homemade.
Do you know what? I've made them to the exact diameter that wagon wheels were.
Used to be. Now they're smaller.
88 millimetres. These I've measured because I too am quite a details-oriented person
That is
when
very
I'm cooking.
important.
So I would suggest cracking it in half and taking a bite. Cheers.
Cheers.
You said you'd never eat another one, and here you are. Sometimes you just got to change your mind on things, don't you?
Sometimes you do.
Sometimes you do.
Sometimes it's just the right thing. They're very good.
Thank you very much.
We all have our quirks in life, and mine is that I've been cooked dinner by 6 Australian Prime Ministers. Not at the same time, of course, but seeing as you've watched Anthony Albanese, why not go for the full degustation? Available right now on ABC iView.